Mrs. Smith, my name's Jamie. I'm going to be your CNA for the day, and we're going to do some catheter care. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Woo. What voices you have. I'm going to pull your curtains, invite your family out, wash my hands, check my ID, and check the locks on my bed, and go get my supplies. Okay, so, I need a barrier towel, and then a towel for drying across the knees. I need a chucks, and I need 6 washcloths. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go.
And a bath blanket.
And a bath blanket. Gotta keep my class on their toes. Okay, great. Come over.
She's gonna get those when she gets her water.
That's my linen. I'm gonna set that down. Okay. I know that I'm also going to need my basin and some soap. And then some gloves as well. I can grab those when I come back for my water. All right, Mrs. Smith, I'm gonna go grab your water. I'll be right back. Okay. So I would come over. We're gonna simulate the water, yeah? You guys need real water? No, okay, we're gonna simulate water. So paper towel, I would turn on my water. I would test it, what degree?
105.
105, make sure it's at the right temperature. Fill my basin up about 1/4 to 1/3 full. Okay, you've got it, great. Paper towel, turn my water off. I'm gonna grab my gloves on my way back. Okay. All right, Mrs. Smith, could you feel this water to make sure it's okay? Woo, it's toasty warm, isn't it? Feels great. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Again, I'm gonna create my little path. There's my hamper. There's my hamper. Okay. I'm gonna throw my washcloths in my bucket. And I'm going to raise my bed. Mrs. Smith, I'm going to raise your bed. Don't be alarmed. Go ahead and put my gloves on at this point. You can put them on after you do the bath blanket if you'd like, but at this point it's fine. I have an extra glove. Okay. So, Mrs. Smith, we're going to put a bath blanket on you to keep you nice, toasty, warm, and protect your privacy while we do this. And again, I try to keep it folded. Just makes it easier for me. Okay. All right, Mrs. Smith, can you hold the top of that blanket? I'm going to pull your sheet down. Thank you so much. Just like the other video, if you need to go to the other side to pull your sheet down, you can. I'm going to pull it down to about the knees. Okay. Now I need to put my bed pad because I need to protect my linen for when I'm going to be washing the catheter and doing her peri-care. So go ahead and get my pad rolled up. All right, Mrs. Smith, scoot towards me. And roll away. Put your pad down again for your state test and for my clinical skills test. I will help you hold your mannequin. Tuck it under. Go ahead and roll back, Mrs. Smith. You're going to feel a bump. Don't be alarmed. Scoot towards the middle. Okay, I'm going to walk around. Arm's length of your patient. Okay, Mrs. Smith, scoot towards me. And roll away. Thank you. You're welcome. Don't fall off over there. And then I'd roll out my bed pad. And roll back. And scoot towards the middle. Okay. Stick that right there so it's out of the way. She's in the middle. She's safe. I can safely come back around. Remember to make sure your patient is in the middle of the bed before you walk around. They can't be hanging on the edge. Okay, so now I am ready to start. I know I have that there. Okay. All right, Mrs. Smith, I'm going to roll up your gown. I am going to be exposing you to clean your catheter and your peri area. And I know you don't like this, so we'll get it done as soon as possible. Okay, you're going to roll up, protect that gown. And then place the towel across the knees for maximum privacy. So the only thing that we need exposed is what we're actually washing, okay? All right, so the numbers are the same. It's 3, 2, 4, except this time we're only doing the front side. It's a lot easier. You guys are gonna like it. So I take my washcloth, squeeze it out, put soap on 3 leaves. 1, 2, 3. Put it back, hold it back, smack it. And again, I am on the right side of my patient because I'm right-handed. It's much easier this way when you're working on your right side. If you're left-handed, you want to be over there on that side. I'm going to pull out my first leaf. I'm going to secure my catheter out of the way so that I don't pull it, but then I can also clean, spread my labia, and then once down the middle, put my leaf, second leaf out, bring my catheter over, side of the labia. Remember, go top to bottom, which is also front to back. My third leaf, catheter out of the way, down this side of the labia, pitch my washcloth. Second washcloth, squeeze out, 2 leaves, 1, 2, okay, hold it back, smack it, pull out your first leaf, down the groin. At this point, I'm not so much securing my catheter. I can just move it out of the way if I need to because I'm not really washing near it. But if you need to move it out of the way, move it out of the way. And then my second leaf is going to go on this side of the groin. And we are done. There's 3, 2, 4. Remember, we wash everything, then we rinse everything. Because when we get in the shower, we don't wash a hand, then rinse our hand, then wash our arm, then rinse our arm, then wash our shoulder, then rinse our shoulder. It's pretty ineffective that way. We wash everything, and then we rinse everything. So our 4 now is going to be for the catheter. Squeeze out. Soap on 4 leaves. 1, 2, 3, 4. Move it back, smack it. Alright. At this point, all of this is nice and soapy. I'm going to secure it right here as close as I can to the meatus. And then this is just kind of something you need to get used to. Everybody has a slightly different technique. I use my 2 fingers right here, and then I wrap my washcloth around, and then I pull down at least 4 inches, okay? Make sure that you're securing the catheter so you don't pull it out. Remember, I showed you what's inside the bladder holding that in. We do not want that to come out. Down, and you're gonna do this 4 times. So that was 1, hold it, 2, 3, and 4. Mrs. Smith, how are you doing? Good. We're gonna rinse you now. We're getting there. We're almost done. Okay, so now I'm gonna rinse. 3, 2, 4, rinse. Squeeze it out. No soapies. I'm gonna do 3. 1 down the middle. 1 down the side. I didn't secure that very well, did I? 1 down the side. Pitch it. 2. I'm on 2 rinse now. This is the groin. 1 down the groin, rinsing. 1 down the groin, rinsing. All right, now I'm on my 4. And this is where I rinse my catheter. You guys should be practicing with wet washcloths at home if you haven't had the chance to do it in class with a wet washcloth. They can be tricky to handle. Secure your catheter again. 1, 2, 3 rinse, and 4 rinse, and we're done with the rinsing. 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, 4, all good. All right, now I'm going to dry from top to the bottom, pat dry. You don't have to worry about drying the catheter, just pat dry. All right, Mrs. Smith, you are all done. Now I just have to remove my bed pad. Remove my towel. I'm going to pull my gown back down. Okay. All right, Mrs. Smith, I just have to remove your bed pad now. I do see that, again, your catheter is nice. The tubing is not kinked. My bag is hanging below the level of the bladder. Okay, Mrs. Smith, go ahead and scoot towards me and roll away. Notice now that my hands are definitely, my gloves are dirty, I'm only touching my bath blanket. I'm gonna roll this up. All right, Mrs. Smith, roll back. You'll feel a bump, don't be alarmed. Scoot towards the middle. I'm gonna come around and finish removing the pad. towards me. A little bit more. Roll away. Alright, you can roll back and scoot towards the middle. I've had a yours, Mrs. Smith, I gotta tell you. Starting to think you don't like looking at me. Okay, so stay like that. Yeah, I'm good to go, right? I don't need a pad because it is catheter. My patient's not incontinent. Now, in some places, most facilities, they are going to have a pad under them regardless. Rule of thumb is leave your patient the way you found them. If they have a pad under them when you start, then put a pad under them when you finish. But for catheter care for your state exam, they did not start with a pad. We only put a pad down to protect the linen. So my patient is good to go. I don't need to leave a new clean one like we did in peri-care. Okay, so now, Mrs. Smith, you hanging in there? Okay, I am now going to pull up the sheet. So Mrs. Smith, I'm going to pull down your blanket temporarily. I know that your gown is covering you completely so that I can pull your sheet up, okay? I'm going to go ahead and pull my blanket down, grab my hem. My sheet is now up. Alright, and now I need to put down my bed with a corner of my blanket, bending down and using good body mechanics. I do see that my catheter tubing is still fine and not kinked. My bag is below the level of the bladder. Okay, I'm going to discard my blanket. I'm going to go clean my basin. Paper towel on, rinse. Paper towel off, paper towel to grab, dry the inside, paper towel, dry the outside, paper towel, paper towel. So when I come back, I have this. Soap, this, there, throw away my paper towels, throw away that extra glob, bedside table clean, remove my gloves, wash my hands, and then run through my exits. Again, my hamper. Mrs. Smith, is there anything else I can do for you? Nope, because I'm amazing. I always make sure my patients are well taken care of. Your bed is in the lowest and locked position. Your sheets are neat. Your call light is over here. What's your strong hand? My lap's perfect. Would you like a drink?
Nothing.
No, here's your table. Clean back my curtain. Invite my family back in. Wash my hands. Jot down my charting. And if I had any charting, wash my hands again. And before we stop, I wanted to note one thing. So that's the end of the skill. Okay, everybody has that. When you're turning your patient with a catheter, you need to be cognizant of, again, the catheter and the tubing. If your tubing or your catheter isn't long enough, when you go to roll them, it may snag your patient, okay? If for some reason it's not long enough or it's hanging in such a position that it's going to snag on your patient, you can easily take your bag, put it down at the foot of your bed temporarily, roll your patient, and then when you roll them back, you can rehook the bag on your bed frame. Okay? So always be cognizant of that when you start rolling your patient. If they have any sorts of tubing, IVs, anything coming out of them, always be aware that if the tubing or whatever they have is attached to something that's stationary, when you move your patient, it is not going to go with them, and your tubing is going to take the path of least resistance, which is going to mean it's going to come out of your patient's body. So please make sure that you keep your tubing and your IVs and your lines inside your patient where they belong. Okay?